All right, let's jump right into a really fascinating debate: America's NFL versus Australia's NRL. Today, we're going to break down one source's really compelling and pretty provocative argument about what truly separates these two heavyweight sports. So let's get to it. So, right off the bat, the perspective we're looking at comes in swinging with this zinger. It paints a picture of the NFL not just as a game, but as this super structured start and stop event. It kind of sets the stage for a really critical look at how these two games actually work. So here we go. We're diving into a viewpoint that is, let's just say, unapologetic in how it compares what these two sports demand from their athletes. It's all about the contrast between the raw, non-stop physical grind of rugby league and the strategic, almost surgical nature of American football. And this, right here, is the core of the whole argument. The NFL is seen as this incredibly cerebral battle, right? It's like a game of chess, but with these huge, explosive bursts of action. The NRL, on the other hand, it's framed as an absolutely brutal 80-minute war where, honestly, the main goal is just to survive until the final whistle. Okay, now for what might be the biggest point of difference our source brings up: the actual amount of time the ball is even in play. I mean, think about it. In a 3-hour broadcast, how much action are you really getting? And wow, these numbers really tell the story, don't they? So, in your typical 3-hour NFL broadcast, the data our source uses says you get about 11 minutes of actual gameplay. Just 11 minutes. Compare that to an NRL match, which gives you around 55 minutes of action. That's literally 5 times more continuous sport. This line really just nails the point, doesn't it? The argument is that the whole NFL package is built around the drama, the replays, the endless analysis, the commercials. It's a mini-series with these little flashes of action. But the NRL experience? Well, that's all about the relentless, nonstop game itself. So it makes sense that this huge difference in pacing would lead to a totally different kind of athlete, right? Our source argues that the two leagues have completely different philosophies about what a player should be, and it creates this divide between what they call specialists and survivors. And check out how this breaks down. The NFL is built on specialization. You've got your offense, your defense, your special teams, totally separate units. Guys are constantly being swapped in and out for specific plays. But in the NRL, players have to do it all. They're playing offense and defense. And with very few substitutions, they're forced to stay out there and just play through the pain and exhaustion. Yeah, seriously, think about it. You could have a guy in the NFL whose entire job is to come onto the field and just kick the ball. Or another guy who's only out there to chase the quarterback on third down. They are absolute masters of one single, explosive task. And then you get this quote, which just perfectly captures the other side of the coin. From this point of view, an NRL player's most important skill isn't one specific move. It's just the all-around ability to keep going, to survive the next brutal set of tackles and runs, and then get up and do it all over again. This brings us to what is maybe the most powerful argument our source makes. It's the idea that in the NRL, getting tired isn't just something that happens. It's actually a core part of the game's design. It's a feature, not a bug. So what does that really mean, fatigue as a feature? Well, it's the idea that the rules of rugby league, especially the limited substitutions, are deliberately set up to wear players down. The sport is basically designed to test not just your skill, but your ability to use that skill when your body and your brain are absolutely screaming for a break. And just look at what that means on the field. It's not just about running and tackling. It's about making split-second decisions, trying to communicate with your teammates, executing a perfect kick or pass, all while you are completely gassed with no huddles, no timeouts to catch your breath and reset. Man, this is such a great way to redefine toughness. The source is arguing it's not just about taking a hit. Real toughness is having the mental clarity to make the right call when you are physically and completely spent. That's a whole other level. Okay, so let's wrap this all up. Let's bring all these ideas together for one last look at what our source presents as two totally different philosophies on what it even means to be an elite athlete. And this right here just illustrates the two worlds perfectly. The NFL is presented as this perfectly tuned machine designed for specialists to create these incredible, controlled moments of power. And the NRL, it's portrayed as the machine itself, actively trying to break the athlete whose only job is to somehow keep functioning from beginning to end.
So, the big takeaway from this whole perspective is that we're looking at two completely different kinds of athletic challenges. One sport tests your peak power and your strategy, but it does it in these short, managed bursts. The other? It's a relentless test of your endurance, your resilience, and your ability to hold on to your skills under the constant grinding pressure of exhaustion.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. Based on this viewpoint, what do you think is the ultimate test of an athlete? Is it that perfectly executed burst of explosive power? Or is it the sheer will to keep performing when you feel like you've got absolutely nothing left in the tank?